The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Zorax stepped onto the speaking platform, his four arms raised in the traditional gesture of grave concern. The 17 representatives from the most advanced species in the known universe leaned forward. Something was wrong. Esteemed colleagues, Zorax began, his translucent skin pulsing with blue light. Our deep space monitors have detected something unprecedented. A region of space, approximately 12 light-years from the Andromeda Arm, appears to be consuming everything around it. Holographic images appeared above the central table. They showed stars blinking out one by one, their light seemingly swallowed by an expanding darkness. We call it the Void, Zorax continued. It defies all known physical laws. Our best scientists believe it may be the greatest threat our galaxy has ever faced. The chamber erupted in controlled discussion. Species that had been at peace for centuries now faced a common enemy, one they couldn't fight, negotiate with, or understand. High Counselor Xenfar, the oldest member of the council, raised a bony finger. The room fell silent again. What of the humans? Xenfar asked. Their territory lies closest to this phenomenon. A wave of dismissive clicks and hums filled the room. The humans have been members of this council for barely 3 cycles, said Ambassador Kellner of the Machine World Mechanus. Probationary members. At that, their understanding of cosmic threats is limited. They are emotional, added another voice. Prone to panic. Zorax nodded gravely. Which is precisely why we must control what information reaches Earth. If humans learn of the Void, their fear will lead to chaos. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Lisa Miller squinted at her computer screen in the quiet darkness of NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station in New Mexico. For the 3rd night in a row, she had detected unusual readings from a distant sector of space. Alan, she called to her colleague across the room. Come look at this. Dr. Alan Johnson sighed and rolled his chair over to her station. He had worked with Lisa for 5 years and respected her work, but sometimes her imagination ran wild. These energy patterns don't match anything in our database, Lisa said, pointing to the fluctuating lines on her screen. It's as if something is absorbing the radiation from these stars. Alan yawned and took a sip of his coffee. Probably just equipment malfunction. We've been pushing these old systems too hard lately. I don't think so, Lisa insisted. I've run 3 separate diagnostics. These readings are real. Ellen patted her shoulder. Tell you what, log it in the system, and we'll run a focused scan tomorrow. But don't get too excited. Weird readings happen all the time. Lisa nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was looking at something important, something big. What neither Lisa nor Alan knew was that at that very moment, the Galactic Council was voting on a measure that would classify all information about the Void as restricted from Earth. All in favor of withholding information from the human representatives? Zorax asked. 15 lights turned green around the table. Only 2 remained yellow. The representatives from the Phytolian plant beings and the ancient Zoraxians. The measure passes, Zorax announced. No information about the Void will be shared with Earth or its colonies. High Counselor Xenfar's wrinkled face formed what passed for a smile in his species. Humans fear it, he proclaimed, his voice carrying across the chamber. Their primitive minds cannot comprehend cosmic threats without descending into chaos. We do them a kindness by protecting them from truths they are not evolved enough to face. The council adjourned, each member returning to their world with instructions to monitor the Void from a safe distance and share no information with any human. Back on Earth, Lisa saved her strange readings to a private folder on her computer. She labeled it Anomaly X7 and made a note to look at it again tomorrow. Something inside her wouldn't let it go, despite Alan's dismissal. She had no way of knowing that her discovery would soon challenge everything the Galactic Council thought they knew about humans. 6 months passed since the Galactic Council's decision to hide the Void from humanity. In that time, the mysterious phenomenon had grown by 12%, consuming 3 uninhabited star systems. The U.S. horizon drifted silently through the stars on a routine survey mission. Captain Jack Russell sat in his command chair, reviewing reports from various departments. He was a steady man with 20 years of space experience, respected by his crew for his calm approach to unexpected situations. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual energy readings," said Lieutenant Samantha White from her science station. She brushed a strand of blonde hair from her face as she studied her screens. "Like nothing I've ever seen before." "On screen," Captain Russell ordered. The main view screen showed normal space ahead, stars against the black backdrop of space. But the sensors told a different story. They detected a massive distortion just beyond visual range. "Adjust course to investigate," Russell said, "but keep a safe distance." The navigator nodded. "New course plotted, sir." What the crew of the Horizon didn't know was that they had just entered a restricted zone, one the human representatives on the Galactic Council had never been told about. As the ship approached the coordinates, the stars ahead seemed to bend and warp. The view screen showed a darkness deeper than the space around it, a perfect circle of nothingness that seemed to pull at the eye. "All stop," Russell commanded. "Full sensor sweep." Instead of panic, the bridge crew worked with focused efficiency. Samantha's fingers flew across her console as she collected data. "Sir, it's absorbing all matter and energy that crosses its boundary," she reported. "But there's a pattern to the absorption. It's not random. Almost like." "Like what, Lieutenant?" Russell asked. Samantha looked up, her eyes wide with excitement rather than fear. "Like it's processing the information, analyzing it." Across the galaxy, alarms blared in the Galactic Council's monitoring station. A Trillian technician rushed into Ambassador Zorax's private chamber. "Ambassador, a human vessel has discovered the void." Zorax's skin paled from blue to white. "Impossible. That sector was under strict quarantine. Their patrol route must have been changed," the technician explained. "They're holding position just outside the event horizon." "Prepare for reports of human panic," Zorax said grimly. "Their ship will likely attempt a disorganized retreat at any moment." But the U.S. horizon did not retreat. Instead, it launched a series of probes toward the void. On the bridge, Captain Russell watched the data stream in. "Fascinating," he murmured. "Captain," Samantha called out, "the probe's signals aren't just disappearing. They're being transformed somehow. Look at these wavelength shifts." The crew gathered around her station, curiosity overtaking any sense of danger. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Miller received an urgent notification. The anomaly she had detected months ago had been encountered by the U.S. horizon. She immediately called her old friend from graduate school, Dr. Eric Hayes at MIT. "Eric, remember that strange reading I told you about? A ship just found it. They're sending back data that confirms everything I suspected." Eric's voice came through excited. "Send me what you've got. I'll start working on it right away." In the council chambers, confusion reigned. The human ship had not only survived its encounter with the void, but was methodically studying it. Ambassador Zorax struggled to explain this unexpected development. "Perhaps they don't understand what they're seeing," suggested one council member. High Counselor Xenthar shook his ancient head. "Or perhaps we don't understand the humans." After 3 days of observation, the U.S. horizon prepared to return to Earth. Captain Russell recorded his final log entry near the void. "We've encountered a phenomenon that defies current scientific understanding. However, Lieutenant White's analysis suggests it may be more than a destructive force. It may be a doorway, or even an entity. We're bringing back our findings for further study." As the horizon set course for Earth, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The humans did not react with fear, Zorax admitted, his voice strained. They responded with curiosity. "This changes our assessment," Xenthar said slowly. "We must reconsider our approach to humanity." On Earth, Lisa and Eric began analyzing the horizon's data, unaware that their work would soon challenge the galaxy's fundamental understanding of both the void and humanity itself. Dr. Eric Hayes hadn't slept in 36 hours. His office at MIT was covered with notes, coffee cups, and printouts of data from the U.S. horizon. He stared at his computer screen, rubbing his tired eyes. Lisa Miller arrived with 2 fresh coffees. "Any progress?" she asked, setting one cup beside him. Eric smiled for the first time in hours. "I think I've figured it out, Lisa. The void isn't consuming matter. It's transforming it." He pulled up a series of equations on his screen. "Look at these energy signatures. When something enters the void, it doesn't disappear. It changes state, like water becoming steam, but on a cosmic scale." Lisa leaned closer. "You mean it's a gateway, or a transformation chamber?" Eric said. "Whatever goes in is being converted into something our instruments can't detect. Not destroyed, changed." 3 days later, they presented their findings to NASA officials. The room was silent as they finished their presentation. "This is groundbreaking," said the NASA director. "We need to bring this to Ambassador Walsh immediately." Daniel Walsh, Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, listened carefully as Lisa and Eric explained their theory. Unlike the rest of the Council, Walsh was new to galactic politics. He had been a diplomat on Earth before humanity joined the stars. "So you believe this void is not a threat?" he asked. "We can't be sure," Lisa answered honestly, "but we think it's a natural phenomenon that could be studied safely with the right approach." Ambassador Walsh frowned. "That's strange. The Council never mentioned this phenomenon in any briefing." The next Council meeting was tense. Ambassador Walsh stood before the gathered representatives, his face showing controlled anger. "My government has discovered the void independently," he announced. "We have a theory about its nature that contradicts your assessment. We propose a joint scientific mission to study it properly." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Ambassador Zorax glanced nervously at High Counselor Xenthar. "Humans lack the scientific advancement for such a mission," one representative argued. "Then you have nothing to fear from our participation," Walsh countered. After hours of debate, the Council reluctantly agreed to a joint expedition. They expected human theories to fail when tested, proving once again their superior understanding of the universe. The research vessel Galileo was prepared for the mission. Lisa and Eric joined the crew, along with Samantha White from the U.S. horizon. 3 alien scientists completed the team. Dr. Krell, a Vortian with tentacle-like limbs and a logical mind; Professor Elora, a plant-based Phytolian who communicated through color changes in her leaves; and Chief Researcher Dax, a crystalline Zoraxian whose species measured age in millennia. During their journey to the void, tensions grew between the human and alien scientists. The aliens insisted on following established galactic protocols, while the humans wanted to try new approaches. "Your species has barely mastered interstellar travel," Dr. Krell said during one heated discussion. "The Council's scientific methods have been refined over thousands of years." "Maybe that's the problem," Eric replied. "You've been looking at the void through the same lens for too long. Sometimes fresh eyes see what experienced ones miss." Alara's leaves turned a contemplative blue. "There may be wisdom in this. My species believes in the value of diverse perspectives." Dax, who had remained silent during most discussions, finally spoke. "I have lived for 700 years. In that time, I have learned that age does not always equal understanding. Perhaps we should consider the human approach." As the Galileo neared its destination, Lisa noticed the alien scientists growing more anxious. Their confidence seemed to waver as the void appeared on their view screens. "You're afraid of it," she realized aloud. "Caution is logical when facing the unknown," Krell replied stiffly. Eric looked thoughtfully at his alien colleagues. "That's the difference, isn't it? Humans have always lived with fear. It's part of our evolution. We've learned to work with it, not avoid it." He gestured toward the looming darkness ahead. "Sometimes, to understand the unknown, you need to be comfortable with fear." The Galileo's engines slowed as they reached the edge of the void. What they would discover there would challenge everything both humans and aliens thought they knew about the universe and about each other. The Galileo hovered at the edge of the void, its advanced sensors collecting data. On the bridge, the mixed crew of humans and aliens worked at their stations. "Deploying primary probes," announced Dr. Krell, his tentacles moving across the control panel with practiced precision. 5 sleek probes, built with the most advanced galactic technology, shot toward the void. Their signals transmitted perfectly until they crossed the boundary. Then, one by one, they went silent. Krell's skin darkened with frustration. "The Council's best technology, and we have nothing to show for it." Lisa studied the readings on her screen. "The probes are working exactly as designed," she said, "but they're looking for the wrong things." "What do you suggest?" asked Alara, her leaves turning an interested shade of green. Lisa turned to Eric. "Remember that old NASA project from 20 years ago? The one that measured quantum fluctuations?" Eric nodded. "The Feynman detector. It wasn't sophisticated enough for deep space work back then. But if we modified it using the Galileo's systems," Lisa continued, "we might be able to see what's happening inside the void." Krell made a dismissive sound. "Earth technology is primitive by our standards." "Sometimes simpler is better," Eric replied. "Your probes are designed to measure known phenomena. We need something that can detect the unexpected." Dax, the ancient Soraxian, stepped forward. "I have observed many scientific breakthroughs in my lifetime. Often, they come from unexpected sources. Let them try." For the next 12 hours, Lisa and Samantha worked to adapt Earth's older technology using the Galileo's advanced systems. The alien scientists watched with growing interest as the humans took an approach they would never have considered. Just as they finished preparations to launch their modified probes, a massive energy surge erupted from the void. The Galileo shook violently. "Main power failing," shouted the ship's engineer. "Stabilizers offline." The lights flickered and emergency systems activated. Instead of panic, the human crew members moved with quick efficiency. "Reroute auxiliary power to life support," ordered Samantha. "Eric, help me stabilize the sensor array." Lisa worked alongside Alara to secure loose equipment that had become dangerous in the suddenly unstable gravity. The alien crew members seemed momentarily frozen, uncertain how to proceed without their standard emergency protocols. "Don't think, just act," Lisa called to them. "We need everyone." Gradually, the aliens joined the effort. Krell's tentacles proved remarkably useful for reaching damaged components in tight spaces. Alara's sensitivity to energy fluctuations helped identify system failures. Even Dax contributed, his crystalline body naturally resistant to radiation that had spiked during the surge. After 3 tense hours, the Galileo was stabilized. The crew gathered in the main lab to assess their situation. "The void has never shown such aggressive behavior before," said Krell, still shaken. "I don't think it was aggression," Samantha said. "More like a reaction, as if it sensed our presence and responded." Dax had been silent, watching the humans. Now he spoke. "I find it remarkable how you humans responded to the crisis. No fear, only focus." "Oh, we were afraid," Lisa corrected him with a small smile. "We just didn't let it stop us." "Perhaps," Dax said thoughtfully, "what we mistook for fear in humans is actually a unique form of respect for the unknown." Eric checked the status of their modified probes. They had survived the energy surge. "Our probes are still operational," he announced. "I say we launch them now." After what just happened, Krell's skin paled. "We should retreat to a safe distance and analyze what went wrong." "Or seize this opportunity," Eric countered. "The void is active right now. This is our best chance to learn something new." After a brief debate, they decided to proceed. The modified Earth probes, simple in design but reconfigured for this specific mission, launched toward the void. Unlike the advanced alien probes, these did not go silent. Instead, they began transmitting data unlike anything the galactic scientists had ever seen. "It's working," Lisa exclaimed, watching the stream of information appear on her screen. "We're getting readings from inside the void." The alien scientists gathered around in astonishment as the first real data from within the void filled their screens. Human technology, considered primitive by galactic standards, had succeeded where their advanced systems had failed. "How is this possible?" Krell asked, his voice a mixture of confusion and respect. "Sometimes," Eric said, "you need to build a new tool for a new kind of problem." For 3 days, the crew of the Galileo analyzed the data from the modified Earth probes. They worked in shifts, human and alien scientists side by side, sorting through the massive amount of information flowing from the void. Lisa rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the screen. Something was there, a pattern she couldn't quite grasp. It reminded her of something. "Eric," she called across the lab. "Come look at this." Eric joined her, leaning over her shoulder to see the screen. "What am I looking at?" "These energy pulses from the void," Lisa said, pointing to a repeating pattern. "They're not random. They have a rhythm to them." Eric's eyes widened. "Like a heartbeat." "More like." Lisa searched for the right word. "More like a conversation." Action, reaction, pause. Action, reaction, pause. "Are you suggesting the void is trying to communicate?" asked Krell, who had moved closer to listen. "Not exactly," Lisa said, "but I think it's responding to our probes. We send a signal, it sends something back. It's interactive." Eric straightened up suddenly. "It's not a natural phenomenon at all, is it?" "It's artificial." The lab fell silent as everyone considered this possibility. "Impossible," Krell said finally. "No known species has the technology to create something of this magnitude." "No known species," Eric emphasized. "What if it was built by someone we haven't met yet, or by a civilization that existed before any of ours?" Elara's leaves turned a deep purple of excitement. "A predecessor artifact. There are legends among my people of those who came before, who reached beyond the physical realm." "This is speculation without evidence," Krell objected. "The Council will not accept such theories." As if on cue, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. Their faces appeared on the main screen, expressions grave. "We have reviewed your preliminary findings," announced Ambassador Zorax. "The mission is deemed too dangerous to continue. You are ordered to return immediately." After the transmission ended, an argument broke out among the crew. The aliens were inclined to obey the Council, while the humans wanted to continue their research. "We're finally making progress," Samantha insisted. "We can't leave now." A new message arrived, this one from Captain Jack Russell of the U.S. Horizon. "We've been patrolling nearby," he explained. "The Council ordered us to escort you home, but," he smiled slightly, "we seem to be experiencing some communication difficulties. We probably won't receive their orders for another day or two. In the meantime, we have extra supplies if you need them." With the gift of time from Captain Russell, the team returned to their work with renewed energy. Lisa had an idea. "If the void is responding to our signals," she said, "maybe we can establish meaningful communication." "How?" asked Dax, who had been quietly observing until now. "Music," Lisa suggested. "Mathematical sequences. Universal patterns that any advanced intelligence might recognize." Eric nodded. "We could send prime numbers, the value of pi, and musical harmonies that follow the laws of physics." "Earth music." Krell sounded skeptical. "What could that possibly accomplish?" "Music follows mathematical patterns," Eric explained, "but it also carries emotion. If the void is intelligent in some way, it might respond to both logic and feeling." Despite Krell's doubts, they prepared a transmission combining Bach's mathematical precision with simple mathematical sequences. Lisa added whale songs from Earth's oceans, creatures who had developed their own complex communication across vast distances. They sent the transmission toward the void and waited. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, The sensors lit up with activity. "It's responding," Samantha called out. "And it's not just echoing our signal. It's altering it, building on it." The response contained the same mathematical sequences they had sent, but arranged in new patterns. Then came sounds similar to the whale songs, but with variations that seemed to form questions. Everyone stared at the incoming data in amazement. The void wasn't just active. It was interactive, learning, responding. Krell stood motionless, his skepticism finally broken. "In all my years of scientific study," he said quietly, "I never imagined this." "You were right." He turned to Eric. "Your species' relationship with fear has prepared you for this moment in a way ours never could." "What do you mean?" Eric asked. "We avoid what we fear," Krell explained. "We build systems to protect us from the unknown. But humans, you lean into it. You let it drive you forward rather than hold you back. And because of that, you've discovered what all our advanced technology missed." Lisa looked at the stream of communication flowing between them and the void. "So what do we do now?" "Now," Eric said with a smile, "we talk back." The next 12 hours aboard the Galileo were the most intense of Lisa's life. The void had begun transmitting vast amounts of information, more than their systems could process at once. Everyone worked frantically to capture and decode the incoming data. "It's like it was waiting for someone to talk to it," Samantha said, her fingers racing across her console. "Now it won't stop talking." Eric organized the team into groups. Some focused on the mathematical portions of the messages, others on the patterns that resembled music or language. The aliens and humans now worked together without their earlier tension, united by the discovery. "I think I understand part of it," Eric announced after several hours. He pointed to a series of complex symbols on his screen. "These aren't just random patterns. They're a kind of map, a blueprint." "A blueprint of what?" asked Alara, her leaves shifting to an attentive yellow. "Of the void itself," Eric said. "It's showing us how it was built." Dax moved closer, his crystalline body reflecting the light from the screens. "If I'm interpreting these correctly," he said slowly, "the void isn't just a structure. It's a node, one point in a larger network." Lisa looked up from her own work. "A network for what?" "For transcendence," Dax whispered. "The predecessors." All work stopped as Dax explained. According to legends known only to the oldest species, the predecessors were beings who had lived billions of years ago. They had supposedly found a way to evolve beyond physical form, becoming pure energy and consciousness. "My people dismissed these as myths," Dax said. "But this?" He gestured at the screens. "This suggests the legends were true." As they decoded more information, an incredible story emerged. The void was indeed created by the predecessors, a species that had evolved to a point where physical bodies were no longer needed. Before they left this plane of existence, they built a network of gateways throughout the galaxy. The network was designed to help other worthy species follow them, Eric explained as the picture became clearer. But it required a specific approach to activate it, one that balanced analysis with intuition. All previous species who found it either avoided it entirely, Lisa continued, or approached it with purely logical methods. They missed the key component. Emotion, Allura said, understanding dawning in her changing colors. The ability to process fear and curiosity together. Humans aren't more advanced than other species, Samantha realized. We just evolved differently. We developed intelligence while keeping our emotional responses intact. Krell, who had been analyzing another section of data, looked up with urgency. "The Council needs to know about this immediately. This discovery changes everything we thought we knew about the universe." While the Galileo prepared a comprehensive report, news of their initial findings had already reached the Galactic Council. An emergency session was called, with representatives from all 17 species attending in person rather than through holograms. "Impossible," shouted one member as Ambassador Zorax presented the information. "Humans cannot have succeeded where we failed for centuries." "And yet," Zorax replied, The evidence is clear. The human approach unlocked communication with the Void, or rather, with the predecessor network. High Counselor Xenfar raised his hand for silence. If these findings are verified, humanity's status in the galaxy must be reconsidered. They might gain too much influence, warned another member. This knowledge gives them power. On Earth, news of the discovery created excitement among scientists and the public alike. Ambassador Walsh found himself suddenly elevated in importance, invited to meetings that had previously been closed to him. The Council fears our new position, he told Lisa and Eric during a secure communication. Some members are suggesting that the predecessor network should be controlled by the Council, not by humanity. That's not right, Lisa said firmly. This discovery belongs to all sentient beings, not just humans or the Council. Walsh nodded. I've been making that argument. But there's resistance. Some species are preparing military vessels to quarantine the Void. Eric looked troubled. They still don't understand. The network isn't something you can control by force. It requires a specific mindset to interact with it properly. Then we need to demonstrate that, Lisa said, before this turns into a conflict. As they spoke, the Void continued to transmit information, revealing more of its secrets. The predecessors had left more than just a gateway. They had left a choice for those who could hear their message. The Galileo's main conference room had been converted into a command center. Screens displayed incoming messages from Earth, the Galactic Council, and the continuous stream of data from the Void. Lisa, Eric, and the alien scientists worked to understand the final piece of the puzzle. According to these transmissions, Eric said, pointing to a complex diagram, the predecessors left us a choice. What kind of choice? Asked Samantha. They offer two paths, Lisa explained. Humanity can ascend beyond physical form, gaining incredible knowledge and abilities. Or we can remain as we are and serve as intermediaries, helping other species understand and use the network. Why would they offer such power to humans specifically? Krell asked, his earlier skepticism replaced by genuine curiosity. Not just to humans, Eric clarified. To any species that approaches the network correctly. We happen to be the first to do so. A message from Ambassador Walsh interrupted their discussion. His face appeared on the main screen, looking worried. The Council has made a decision, he reported. They're sending a military fleet to quarantine the Void. They claim it's for galactic security, until a formal agreement can be reached about who controls access. Captain Russell of the U.S. Horizon joined the call. We've detected multiple ships heading your way. They'll reach your position in 12 hours. This is exactly what the predecessors were trying to avoid, Dax said, his crystalline form dimming with concern. The network wasn't created for one species to control. It was meant to unite all intelligent life. Lisa had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke up. What if there's a third option? Something beyond the two choices the predecessors offered. Everyone turned to look at her. What if, she continued, instead of humans ascending or becoming intermediaries, we open the network to all species willing to learn the approach? Not just the logical methods the Council favors, but the balance of reason and emotion that made our communication successful. Eric nodded slowly. That could work. We could develop a training program to help other species understand the human approach to the unknown. My people would be interested, Elora said, her leaves turning a hopeful blue. The Phtolians have always valued emotional intelligence alongside logic. Even Vordians might learn, Krell admitted, though it would take time to overcome centuries of purely rational thinking. As they discussed this possibility, sensors warned of an approaching ship. It wasn't part of the Council fleet. It was a small Phytolian vessel. They've sent me as an envoy, explained the Phytolian captain when they established communication. Many species disagree with the Council's decision to militarize this discovery. We want to help find a peaceful solution. Other ships soon followed, representatives from species who questioned the Council's approach. Within hours, a small fleet of independent vessels had gathered near the Galileo and the U.S. horizon. Meanwhile, Lisa had developed a plan. "I need to enter the void," she announced to the group. "Enter it?" Samantha asked, alarmed. "We don't know if that's safe." "The data suggests it is," Lisa insisted. "The predecessors created it as a doorway, not a weapon. Someone needs to go through it and make direct contact." "It should be me," Eric argued. "I understand the mathematical aspects better." Lisa shook her head. "The mathematics are important, but so is intuition. I've been communicating with it longer than anyone. I believe it knows me in some way." After hours of debate, everyone reluctantly agreed that Lisa should go, but not alone. They would maintain constant communication and pull her back at the first sign of danger. As Lisa prepared for her journey, Eric helped her into a specially designed suit. "Remember," he said quietly, "we still don't fully understand what's in there. If anything feels wrong, I'll come back immediately," she promised. Captain Russell positioned the U.S. horizon between the approaching Council fleet and the void, creating a standoff. The independent alien ships joined him, forming a protective barrier. Lisa stood at the airlock, looking out at the swirling darkness of the void. Fear and excitement mixed within her, exactly the balance the predecessors had designed their creation to respond to. "I'm ready," she said into her communicator. As the airlock opened, she took a deep breath and pushed off, floating toward the void. Behind her, everyone watched in tense silence as she approached the boundary. "Contact in 3, 2, 1. Lisa counted down. Then she crossed the threshold, and the void welcomed her in. The moment Lisa crossed into the void, everything changed. The darkness wasn't empty as it had appeared from outside. It was filled with light, patterns, and a sense of presence that surrounded her completely. "Can you hear me?" Eric's voice came through her communicator, tense with worry. "Yes," she replied. "It's beautiful in here. Nothing like what we thought." She tried to describe what she was seeing, but human language fell short. The void was alive with what looked like flowing streams of energy, forming and reforming into complex structures. It felt both ancient and new, alien yet somehow familiar. "I sense consciousness," Lisa reported. "Not just one, but many, joined together." As she floated deeper into the void, Lisa felt her mind expanding. Knowledge flowed into her, not in words or images, but in pure understanding. The predecessors had indeed transcended physical form, becoming beings of pure energy and thought. The void was one of many gateways they had created, hoping to eventually welcome other species to join them. For billions of years, they had waited. Many species had discovered their gateways, but most had either feared them or tried to study them with cold logic alone. None had approached with the balanced mixture of curiosity, respect, and emotional intelligence needed to activate the true purpose of the network. "They want to share what they've learned," Lisa said to her colleagues waiting anxiously outside. "But they won't force it on anyone. That's why they created the choice." While Lisa communicated with the predecessors, tension grew between the Council fleet and the protective ships. Ambassador Zorax demanded that the humans surrender control of the void. Captain Russell refused, maintaining his position. Inside the void, Lisa learned the full truth of the predecessors' intention. They hadn't created the network just to elevate worthy species. They hoped to foster cooperation among diverse life forms, believing that the greatest wisdom came from combining different perspectives. "I need to come back now," Lisa told the predecessors. "I understand what you want us to do." She felt their agreement, a gentle current guiding her back toward the boundary. As she approached it, she felt herself changing. Her mind retained the expanded awareness she had gained, but her body remained human. The predecessors had gifted her with the ability to serve as a translator between their realm and the physical universe. When Lisa emerged from the void, everyone gasped. She looked the same, yet somehow different. More focused, more present. "Are you okay?" Eric asked, rushing to her side. "Better than okay," she said with a smile. I understand now, and I know what we need to do. Within hours, Lisa had shared her experience with the crew of the Galileo and the gathered ships. Together, they formed a plan to present to the council. The council chamber fell silent as Lisa, Eric, and the alien scientists entered. They stood united before the 17 representatives of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Humans don't fear it, Allura announced, her leaves glowing with confidence. They respect it, question it, and learn from it. And so can we all. Lisa stepped forward. The predecessors created the void not for one species to control, but as a gift to all sentient life. They offer knowledge, advancement, even transcendence, but only to those who approach with both logic and emotion in balance. We propose a new path forward, Eric continued. Earth will become the center for a new field of study, emotional intelligence as applied to cosmic exploration. We will teach what we know and learn from others in return. Krell, once the most skeptical of humans, now stood firmly beside them. My people will join this effort. The Vordians have much to learn about emotional intelligence and much to offer in logic and analysis. One by one, representatives from different species stepped forward to join them. The council members looked at each other, recognizing that change had come whether they welcomed it or not. High Counselor Xenfar, oldest and wisest among them, rose slowly from his seat. For 10,000 years, I have served on this council. In that time, I have seen many changes in our galaxy, but none as profound as this. He bowed his ancient head toward Lisa. We feared what we did not understand. You faced it with courage and wisdom. The council will support your proposal. In the months that followed, Earth became the gathering place for scientists and explorers from across the galaxy. Eric established the first multi-species research institute dedicated to exploring the predecessor network, with Krell as his co-director. Lisa, forever changed by her time in the void, became the primary translator between the physical realm and the predecessors. Her enhanced perception allowed her to guide others in understanding the ancient knowledge. 1 year after the discovery of the void, a new expedition prepared to enter it. The ship carried crew members from 12 different species, all trained in the human approach. Embracing fear as the beginning of wisdom rather than the end of exploration. As the ship approached the void, Captain Jack Russell gave the order to proceed. Remember, he told his diverse crew, what looks like darkness from the outside is filled with light when you're brave enough to enter it. And with that, humanity led the way into a new era of galactic cooperation and discovery, proving that what others feared could become the greatest opportunity for growth when approached with courage, curiosity, and respect.